What's up guys, Manime here, and today I am joined with Hyper, who is another anime YouTuber who makes videos pretty similar to mine, except debatably better. As a matter of fact, the two of us put a video together on his channel today talking about juxtaposition in anime, so if you guys want to check that one out, go right ahead, of course, after finishing this one. Anyway, today we are going to be talking about what makes good animation in anime.
It's not exactly easy to determine what qualifies as good animation, especially when you don't know the slightest thing about the mechanics or technicality behind it, like myself and probably some of you guys. In spite of that, a lot of people seem to have at least some understanding of what makes animation work. For example, if I showed a bunch of people Beauty and the Beast, Princess Mononoke, or the Christmas tree, chances are they could easily point out the worst of the three. But why is that? Besides the I think the other two is less pretty. I think the answer lies in one of the crucial elements of animation or film in general, which is movement. See, one of the major differences between those three films is that there is a whole lot of more movement in Beauty and the Beast and Princess Mononoke. The untrained eye may not look for or even notice stuff like frame rate, color palettes, transitions, cuts or edits, but you can be pretty sure that most people would notice whenever what's in front of them is actually moving. I think it is a common idea that people associate movement with life. Whether it is a crowded place or an empty street, there's always some kind of movement to be found. For an animated story to grab us and, well, to will us in, it has to, well, feel like it is alive and breathing. But that leaves us with one interesting question. Are there times when a lot of movement is a bad thing in animation?
This is where we'll talk about focus. When dealing with a visual medium, in this case anime, it's important that whoever's crafting what's on the screen understands how to direct, avert, or subvert the viewer's gaze. You don't want your audience to anxiously look around the frame in an attempt to figure out what they're supposed to be looking at. There are different ways to achieve this. There's abusing your depth of field, or what most people call focus, where you're literally just using the focus function on your camera to blur out whatever you don't want your audience to look at. Think of any movie you've seen where people are having a conversation and the background is completely blurred out. Another way is understanding the dimensions of your picture, i.e. make sure to keep what's essential in the foreground. However, this is where things can be tricky, because something moving in the background can steal your attention. This is generally done mostly for comedic purposes or shocking purposes.
So I've been watching a lot of Black Butler lately, and quite frankly, its animation isn't all too good. There's not a lot of movement, there is a ton of still frames, and there are a lot of shortcuts to boot. I'm gonna have to ask you to hold that thought though, because I need to direct your attention to the currently airing show Handshakers by Gohan Studio. This show is absolutely littered with movement. However, the majority of this one is, for my money, well, pretty horrible animation, which is a fucking shame when you consider the fact that a lot of work presumably went into the production. The question is though, why did I end up having a much better experience with the animation of Black Butler than Handshakers, when Handshakers obviously had a lot more movement? One of the answers is that Black Butler, in spite of its modest animation, never left me to question what was going on or what was important in a scene. I could lean back, so to speak, and escape into the story. Handshakers, on the other hand, had absolutely no sense of focus. So many scenes had so many layers of movement that it was hard to tell what exactly mattered in a scene. I think that the crux of the issue was that there was too many things fighting for my attention. There's just so much stuff going on. We can look a little bit closer into this scene, where we are supposed to be noticing the girl's expression when she is listening to music, but her tits are bouncing hysterically. This scene from Return of Kings, from the same studio, is another great example. There is so much movement, and on top of it all, there are so many different styles of animation, layered filters, CGI, and so on. It ends up looking cluttered, and even more so flickering and confusing. These scenes have obviously been made with the thought in mind that a lot of animation and unconventional camera angles equals to good animation. But in animating with that mentality, they have completely lost the focus in the cinematography. Think of what you would take away from scenes like these, except a lot of stuff happened. Even if you have a good memory and can sum up the things that actually happened, did any of it really leave an impact? There really isn't one particular shot that really burns itself into your eye because you're so busy trying to figure out where to look.
So too many things moving at the same time can be distracting to watch and remove focus. Got it. Let's add another question then. Are there times when an abundance of movement can work in favor of a scene? Well, since this video would end pretty anticlimactic if that wasn't the case, let's just get into it.
So movement is lovely, but not at the cost of focus. But what if the focus is not something going on screen, but something else entirely, like an emotion or impression? What if the purpose of a scene is to frustrate you or confuse you? In that case, a lot of unfocused movement might actually work. We've got this scene from Mob Psycho 100 where the main character Mob is using his psychic abilities to take an enemy to the sky and then throw him into the ground. The sequence got a whole lot of things going on animation wise, but there is only one purpose: to feel how strong the attack is. This is where a lot of awesome animation can help us. We may not be able to focus or see everything that is happening on screen, but the gratuitous amount of animation and frame rate helps us understanding how incredible damage Mob is inflicting to his opponent. Another example is the infamous lovemaking scene from Yuasa's Mind game. Again, a lot of visuals are thrown at you. This time it's very abstract and surreal, but once you realize it's a metaphor for our protagonist finally getting together with the woman he loves, it just works.
So there we go. Movement is what makes animation come to life, but if you want to keep your audience invested in your show, you have to understand the purpose and focus of each of your scenes. I think the main lesson from this video is that excessive movement without any depth or just to look cool takes away from the story and can actually hurt you. But as usual, this is just our opinion. Do you agree or not? Let us know down in the comments. Make sure you guys go over to Hyper's channel to see our video on Juxtaposition and give him a sub if you like his content. As usual, make sure you guys share, like, comment, and subscribe. This has been Matt. Make sure you guys say, man, go watch that goddamn anime!